You know, I like to consider myself a fashion plate. Maybe not today. This may be the worst outfit I've worn. It's just, first of all, the striped pullover cardigan is going to do a number on the camera and moray. I don't care. I do care. I actually do care. I want to give quality content for you guys. But we're talking about the final 23-man roster for the Gold Cup, so I did wear some colors, my USA colors. I don't really like to wear jerseys. I like to wear my LAFC jerseys, but I don't wear jerseys too much. Not my thing. But I wanted to show a little USA pride because everyone else is having fun with the Euros, the Dutch all in orange, the Italians all in blue, the Scots with their kilts. So I want to wear this. I wore my old Hurley hat from 2014. Woo! Karch Karai! Dated reference. Beach volleyball. But this is a hat I wore in 2014, and when I wore it, brought a lot of good luck for the U.S. So, I mean, Hurley's not a sponsor yet. We shall see. But I do wear my USA hat that I bust out on certain occasions. I don't wear it like that. This is the Soccer OG. And we are talking about the Gold Cup. The U.S. have trimmed a 59-man preliminary roster down to 23. That had to be painstaking. My utmost respect for Greg Berhalter and the coaches. From what I understand, Greg is a real hands-on guy. He's not going to text you and say you didn't make the team. He has a good relationship with the players. We can say if he has his shortcomings in other departments, but he's given all these players a fair shake, and he gets in front of them and he talks to them. And I even heard, Gianluca Busio was called up, and he was called by Greg Berhalter. I mean, was it 59 phone calls? I bet you he did. I bet you he tried. Not my best outfit on the Soccer OG. This is the Soccer OG, though. Subscribe. We're going to have a good show right now. Hit that subscribe button. Ooh. Tell your friends. Leave a comment. I will respond. Thank you for all the great comments out there. A lot of positivity. A lot of arguments. People get into it, and I will stand in front of my opinions. We're talking about the 23-man roster, and this was a weird circumstance because the U.S. men's national team said they were going to announce it at 10 o'clock East Coast time on Thursday, July 1st. I'm on the West Coast. 7 o'clock, maybe you don't know this about me, but I am a late riser and late to bed. I do my best work late at night. I usually call games and fights in the middle of the night. So I train myself that. So I usually maybe get up at 8. I know that sounds crazy. I get up earlier if I have to. Not if I don't. So 7 a.m. I was like, oh boy. But I was pretty nervous the night before. Because I was like, what direction are we going to go to? Remember the Olympic qualifying? They rolled out a roster and you're like, that ain't going to cut it. And it didn't. And now this roster, I can see, I was so nervous, but when I saw it and I was looking at player, I was like, okay, all right, I can understand that. I can feel your eyes rolling out there because I know a lot of people are at wit's end with Sebastian Lletget and Jackson Ewell and Sam Vines and all these MLS players just working their way onto a U.S. men's national team and ruining it. That's not my opinion. That's the opinion for some of you out there. So we're going to break into it. And I will tell you this, I think all things considered, Greg Berhalter did a very good job. Now, I'll start from where I join you on our preliminary roster, and there's 3 young players I wanted to see in more than any others. There were others like Justin Che and Ricardo Pepi, and but the big 3, Caden Clark, Gianluca Busio, Cade Cowell. Caden Clark dealing with an appendectomy. I don't even know how to say it. He had an appendix issue, which I can empathize. I had that a few years ago. It got perforated. It wiped me out for a long time. Probably almost close to that, quite frankly. I'm sure Caden Clark took better care of himself because he's an athlete and the training crew will be all over it. I'm sitting here going, I can go to work. I can do this. I'm all right. Don't do that if you feel that pain in your stomach area. So he's not going to be called in for that. Understandable. Cade Cowell didn't make it. San Jose Earthquakes are playing terribly. Maybe his form didn't allow him in. But Gianluca Busio did make it. So I'm content with that. Obviously, a lot of young players. Everyone was like, bring in the young players. Bring in the kids. Let them show what you have. Now, Greg Berhalter said, our priority is to win the Gold Cup. We focus on guys who are in form and can help the team win. So what does that mean? How do you break that down? Pretty simple. Kids aren't going to get on this squad. This is not an area where you go, hey, get a run in, see how it goes. You've got to hit the ground running. You have 3 group games beginning July the 1st against an opponent to be determined. Let's say it could be Haiti, probably a Caribbean country that they should beat. Then they'll have Martinique and Canada. All games will be in Kansas City. You got to get the most of it. You got to win your group to keep the hope alive of meeting Mexico in the final in Las Vegas. My last video, you can determine what that would be like. I actually spoke to Stu Holden. It is coming up on the Soccer OG podcast. Stu, who will be covering the U.S. for Fox and their Gold Cup coverage along with the whole crew there. Stu is tremendous, represented this country, played in Gold Cups. So check out that podcast. It'll come out Saturday after the Euro games, which I will also talk to you about. Soccer OG podcast, where podcasts are available. This feels like a sales video. I get it, but I'm getting to the teams. Should I keep the hat on? Let's keep the hat. I know it's my lucky hat, but let's take it off because it's a sensory overload. Enough advertising for Hurley. So what Greg Berhalter is trying to say is you want guys with experience. You want to have as few headaches as possible. Plug, play, move forward. I'm not going to give you a starting 11. I think it's pretty clear who will probably be your starting 11 plus 2 or 3 guys. I have some concerns, but by and large, I think this is a team that can win their group. We talk about Canada and Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, but they don't have the depth the U.S. have, and they are going to be playing an away game, essentially, in Kansas City. And I think that place is going to be hopping and full. People will go to Kansas City to watch a game or 2. I like what the Gold Cup has done with this. I think that'll protect the U.S., and they have enough know-how and talent to get the result. So let's start in the back. And Matt Turner is the one guy that I think could come out the other end. Well, 2 guys. Daryl Dike is the other. And Daryl Dike is a guy that may not have made this. Maybe he goes to a team in Europe and he has to depart and worry about playing for his club. That's what happened to Brian Reynolds, who is now going to have to impress Jose Mourinho. Greg Berhalter addressed that and said, Mourinho's made it pretty clear he wants guys there, and if he wants to be part of a Roma setup, which is not far-fetched, he's got to be there, so we can understand that. But Reggie Cannon was there. So that's good. Reggie Cannon is a European-based player. There were, I believe, 4 European-based players in total. I think everyone would have liked that number to be a little bit higher, maybe 6 or 7. It's very difficult. Don't blame Greg Berhalter for that. He is looking out for these guys to make sure that they make a good living and play as much as they can for their clubs over in Europe. So defensively, Matt Turner is the guy who can really seize this opportunity, stake the goal situation. You have Brad Guzan and Deshaun Johnson. It has to be Turner. The media are pushing Turner. I think Turner should be the number 1 guy eventually, at least push Zach Steffen, who is the number 1 guy right now, dealing with injuries, not playing for his club. Matt Turner has a big Gold Cup, saves a penalty, distributes the ball beautifully. All of a sudden, he could be the guy. I really believe that. If they make a deep run, it's because Matt Turner played well. Got to have a good goalkeeper. It would appear that Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson are your center back pairing. Now, the guys will fill in, but you want to have a rock there. And if you think Reggie Cannon at right back and George Bello and Sam Vines at left back, you have a back 5 that you can hang your hat on, quite frankly, and push forward. So that's a good thing that the United States have with this squad, and then you could see why it was pretty much a no-brainer. Midfield, I love Gianluca Busio. He'll probably be a spectator. He hasn't really played for the national team much. I know you're not going to want to hear this, many of you. Sebastian Lletget and Jackson Ewell will be in there. Eric Williamson of the Portland Timbers, who's going to be really angry because he didn't make the Olympic team. I expect him to get pushed through there. Christian Roldan of the Seattle Sounders can cover up some shortcomings in many positions. So I think he could be a very valuable player. Midfield, solid. Forwards, good. Wingers, that is where I have my major concern. The 2 true wingers here are Paul Arriola, who's dealing with injuries, and Jonathan Lewis, who just I don't see where he is warranted getting called in here. Didn't have a great Olympics qualifying. Hasn't really been great for his club team, and he's there. So what that tells me is not that Greg Berhalter is going to be relying on Lewis and Arriola to be the wingers. As I spoke to Stu Holden and he mentioned this, look for different formations for the U.S. Maybe they play with two up top. They're strong at forward. Jossie Zardes can score goals. He has for club and country. We have Daryl Dike, another one who could, if Dike and here, this is what you take away from this. If Dike and Turner have a good competition, a good to very good competition, the USA can win the Gold Cup. That is not crazy talk, okay? Those two guys with the solid foundation that is the U.S., they could do incredible things. Matthew Hoppe had a great year with Schalke. Where do you play him? I think he could pop up on the winger. I think Greg Berhalter has said as much that he sees Hoppe as a winger. Nico Gioacchini, scoring goals in the French second division, will find a spot as well. There's going to be heavy rotation. I'd love to see Dike get the big games and the big minutes, certainly as the knockout stages move forward. Average age is 24 years. James Sands, who I put in my 11, made it. I was pretty good with my projected 11. I think 8 or 9 of those guys made it up to the final 23. I think all of them made it, actually. Busio? Yeah, I think they all made it. So maybe I actually hit your starting 11. I had Sands as a midfielder, so it could move around a little bit. Busio may come down a bit. They'll all get minutes. The big takeaways, the kids didn't get on. Anyone from 2003 group on, out. They want to, Greg Berhalter wants to win this. Heavy MLS flavor, but I think they'll be okay. Will they win it? Look, Mexico, if it's a Mexico-USA final, we can't jump ahead to us. As much as I've said Canada and Qatar and Costa Rica and Honduras, USA and Mexico, talent-wise, are still the best. Remember Mexico, we beat them in the Nations League. USA beat them in the Nations League. They struggled in the semifinals against Costa Rica. They're going to be stretched. Some guys are going to the Olympics. A lot on their shoulders. There's going to be a carefree element about this U.S. team which could open the doors. Big spot. Greg Berhalter, World Cup and World Cup qualifying is priority. But if you can get 4 or 5 guys to join the World Cup squad here and have a good result, job well done. And I think they can. The Soccer OG. Rate, review, subscribe, download. Where's that Hurley hat? I'll dress better next time, but this is pretty decent.